Yes, I've got too many windows open here, gang, tonight. Tonight, for this section tonight, gang, we're going to be just basically kind of doing a little hallway talk about photo booths. We've got on with me. I've got a couple of guests. I want to make sure your names are going to show up here as you talk. Mitch and Brandon, you guys can see their names popping up there, and I've got Rob from the Photo Booth Expo who's with us, but he isn't on video. He's there though. So good evening, everyone.
Hey, Jen.
There we are.
There we are.
Hey, John.
I think everybody's on with us here, and I'm trying to reset the screen just a hair bit here because I want to make it so that we're a little bit larger than because we're kind of up in the corner. I started to make us a little bit smaller, and then all of a sudden it went live. So just give me a second here. Rob, before we get going too terribly far, kind of bring us up to speed. Photo Booth Expo is coming up here in March, so kind of tell us about what's coming up, what people can expect, and then we'll get into some questions and such and chat Photo Booth.
Okay, well, we're about a month away from Photo Booth Expo 3 or Photo Booth Expo 2017. The first day is going to be all seminars. There's also parties all the 3 nights, but the second and third day will be exhibits. For those of you that were there last year, it'll be larger. It's grown every year. The first year we had 140 booths. Last year we had 260, and this year we're basically up to 340. We've sold about 320 of them, and I'm pretty sure in the last month the other 20 will sell as well. So it'll basically be a full house. Pretty much all the manufacturers are there, or at least 90% of them are there. Lots of backdrop companies, props, all the major printer manufacturers, most of the like the media suppliers, they're all there. So basically, if you're in the photo booth business and you're looking to either upgrade or find out what the latest and the greatest is and improve your business skills, it's a place to be.
Very nice. Now, this is the third year. Just in the couple of years that we've been doing the Photo Booth Expo and going out there, have you started to see some evolution of what we saw from the first year to this year already?
Well, there have been products that we saw in the first year that have really gained steam. Basically, we had PhotoMaster that brought out the mirror booths, and actually I just saw at my local bridal show a mirror booth come out. So, I mean, the industry is constantly evolving. What came out last year, might not be current this year. It's going in a lightning pace, and it's actually hard to tell exactly what the next thing will be. I mean, if everybody knew what it was going to be, then we'd all do it. But
isn't that the truth?
But you'll see your options, and then you'll have to, consult the crystal ball and try to figure out what the next big thing is going to be in that industry.
Yeah, for sure. For those of you who didn't get a chance to check out, right ahead of this video, I had a great interview with Eric Berry from Media Booth Pro. Make sure I get this right. MediaBoothPro.com. He's one of the presenters, and he'll be one of the exhibitors at this year's show. And your presenters, Rob, you've got a mix of guys and gals who are coming from the photo industry, but you also had some who are coming from the DJ industry, really from all over the wedding industry.
Well, the ones there's a couple of exhibitors that have done very well at presenting at different DJ shows, but they basically present general business knowledge as opposed to there are no DJ
seminars
speakers as such. But whether somebody's selling photo booths or cakes or DJ services, whatever their photography, whatever they're into, we have some good speakers like Alan Berg that basically can relate to just about any industry.
Yes, and as I was going down a schedule, there's many that are coming from these different industries, but they're all talking about sales in the wedding world or in the corporate world, but they're talking business skills that are relatable across the board.
And then, of course, the ones that are speaking about particular, photography / photo booth things, they're basically some of the leaders in the business. So they're basically great to learn from.
Yeah, some great stuff there. You got a question in the chat room for you, Rob. Somebody was asking with the seminar room sizes, are there going to be more chairs because some of the rooms were really, really tight last year?
Yeah, we solved that problem. We got a new venue. I know the last year the second room was basically an afterthought. Probably shouldn't have done it. I probably should have just stuck to the one big room. There was never a problem in the big room, but basically there was only so much space we could rent at South Point last year. Part of the other part of the facility was already booked, and so we basically once we had filled up our schedule in the big room by November, December, and more people wanted to speak, and I basically told the speakers, we only have this room, but unfortunately they were some of the most popular speakers, so
Yes.
we did provide on video access to all the key pass holders, the seminars that they would have missed. But I can't see any problem. There's 2 seminar rooms this year. They can both hold 1,000+ people, and I can't see there being any issues like there were last year.
Very good, very good. If anybody has any questions or anything, please put those in the chat room here on YouTube. Hey, Chris is joining us here from South Dakota. Good to have you, Chris. Because we're just talking for a couple minutes here with Rob from the Photo Booth Expo, and he's that disembodied voice you're hearing. You've got Brandon and Mitch with me, and now Chris, and Rob's the one the voice you're hearing. So if people are like, how come I'm not seeing a person talking? Well, that's why. So. Rob, website if people want to go out and check out the speaker lineup and get passes and do all the important things, where can they go?
Okay, it's very simple. photoboothexpo.com, just like the name of the show. So PHOTOBOOTHEXPO.com.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Chris, are you with me yet? Microphone, Chris, are you there?
I'm working on it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's quite all right. I'm glad you could join us because I'm going to bridge right off what Rob was talking about, because I think you have one of these. He was talking about the mirror photo booth.
Yeah, we got ours about a month ago already, and it was quite the investment, but it's going to prove some pretty fruitful rewards here soon. So.
Have you had some brides take a look at that so far?
Yeah, in fact, we got it on a Thursday, and we had a bridal show on Sunday. And at that bridal show, we booked it 3 different times. 2 with brides that were completely new that we hadn't even talked to before, and then 1 for someone who upgraded from one of our open air booths from our Venue Pro. So
very nice. So now that would, because it's a new booth, and you mentioned that you have an open air booth. How many different types of booths do you guys have within your company?
We only have 3. We have 2 Venue Pros, and then we have the Magic Mirror, and they're both. Both of them have worked really well for us, and we've only been doing it for about a year and a half now, and honestly, we got into it by accident, but it's worked out really well so far for us.
Very nice. And you're in the Sioux Falls area.
Yep.
So for those wondering where everyone's from, now Brandon, you are, if you get your mic unmuted there, we go.
Yep.
New York is where you're based out of. What's your experience now? What have you done in the photo booth world?
Well, I'm mostly a DJ, and I just started getting into photo booth shortly, about a month or 2 ago. And I'm starting out with an iPad booth, so I'm running the Simple Booth app, the event edition. And I run that. I've got some LED lighting I light the backdrop up with, and I'm investing in PVC props and stuff like that now. And I love it so far. I'm planning on using the iPad booth until I can get enough money to buy a full booth and everything like that. But and I plan on investing in a printer soon too, a nice dye sublimation printer. So
very nice. Now, Brandon, I'm going to guess you are in that 20-something range.
I am 17.
17. Okay, I was being a little generous. I was thinking he looks like he's about 18 years old, but I was going to go. I was going to go the 20-something. So this is a great, because we even talked about this in the first show with Eric, is that your generation coming up are much more comfortable with having images and such on your phone, where Chris and Mitch and I we grew up with pictures that were developed at the store or wherever, and we had these 4x6 or what have you. Is that something now, when you're looking at your photo booth, that you're taking an account for, is that your clients that you're going to be working with are probably not as interested in the printouts as maybe they once were? Or are you finding out that the younger people are still interested in the printouts?
I think it depends on the party. I find a lot with Sweet 16s and stuff where there's going to be other family members and there's going to be adults there too. They like the prints so that they can take them home. But as far as kids parties go, if it's like a graduation or something like that I'm doing where it's going to be mostly kids, I found that they're just fine with the texting and email options. So
Yeah, and Eric made a great point that having that ability to get those email and those contacts and such would be a potential marketing tool.
right.
Mitch, let's where are you from, and what's your kind of background in the photo booth realm?
So my wife and I have been doing photo booth stuff for about, I think it's about 6 years now, to be honest with you. Started out, well, I did wedding photography earlier, and decided that it was a lot more stressful than what I get to do with a photo booth. And so we just moved into doing just photo booths, and pretty much we've been doing just kind of an open air camera and backdrop, and I shoot it live, kind of set up lots of props. And now, then 2 years ago, I built I don't know quite the right word, but kind of like a booth like you'd see in a mall. Is that
Right.
an arcade style booth?
I believe
Something
so.
like that. So I built one of those. It's a little bit big. It's a little hard to move around, and I don't have a great system for getting it around. So it hasn't seen much traffic. But then just this last fall, I built another one that's just a small wooden box on a stand that's an automated booth. And so we're starting to rent that one out quite a bit more, and that's been a lot of fun. And it allowed us to expand a little bit because I don't necessarily have to be there to run it. I can hire an attendant, and it's easy to run. And you pop the thing out of the box, you set it on a stand, and the light goes on the top, and it's easy to use. So when I do the open air style where I'm shooting it live, it's a little bit different just because everything is Wi-Fi, and so you got to make sure that all the devices get connected. And I even use Wi-Fi with my camera when I'm shooting, and so it's real nice. But boy, if the Wi-Fi ever gives you any kind of trouble, all of a sudden you're just in a pile of hurt.
Oh, for sure. I could well imagine that. Mitch, do you guys do then prints on site, or?
We do, yeah, we do prints
Okay.
on site, and then just this year, now I've also added 2 social media stations so that people can either text or email them as well. We're using a combination of hot folder prints from Breeze as well as darkroom booth. So we've got darkroom booth is on the new one that I built, the automated system, and then when I'm shooting it live, I use hot folder prints, and so both of those we print. We've got the DR40s that, like everybody knows, they're just a workhorse. They good strong solid printer.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've added a couple of social media stations, and so that's picking up popularity. We do all the big. We have. Let's see. The school district that we're in has 3 large schools with over 2,000 students, and right now we're doing 2 of the 3 after proms. We've got the other school district here, the other big competing school district. We do one of their after proms, and so we do a lot of large groups. A lot of those have 800 kids at them, and so we're having a lot of fun with that. The sharing stations, I think, will be really popular with that. In the past, we used to just have tablets, and we'd collect their email addresses and then send them an email with a link to an online gallery.
Okay.
Now we don't do that anymore. We just use the sharing station. They plop in their phone number or email address, and it just sends to them right away. There's no getting it 2 days later or that kind of thing.
For sure. And I think that in this day and age, I think that immediate, I shoot it, I get type it in, and here it is, and then I can walk back to my table. See, look what we just did is really critical.
We've started playing around now. Darkroom Booth allows us to play around with green screen and animated GIFs, some extra things like that. So that's been fun to play with there.
Yeah. Software, Chris. What are you? Okay, first off, Chris, where are you? Oh, your mic's muted.
There we go. Sorry about that. I'm in Brookings, South Dakota, so.
And it's that warm that you're outside.
No, I'm inside.
Oh, okay.
So
You're just by a window. Okay, I got you.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Software. So Mitch was mentioning, of course, he's using a couple of different software packages. What are you guys running with yours?
Well, with the Venue Pros, they run on Darkroom also, and Darkroom's a really great program, very intuitive, a lot of options. But I think sometimes the workflow is a little harder to work with, and I would have known that had we not gotten the Mirror Booth. And the Mirror Booth has a proprietary software system that they develop. Their software is honestly, it's amazing, very easy to use. It makes sense for a novice user. So if you're brand new to the photo booth stuff, it's very easy to walk through. In fact, their customer support has been, nothing short of amazing. They will help log into on TeamViewer to the computer and help set up things if there's something missing. The tutorials are pretty helpful too, but the Mirror Me, the options that you have with that it's pretty awesome actually. And Darkroom Pro is awesome as well, but it's just there's so many layers to it that unless you're really, really tech savvy, I don't think most people are going to touch probably half of the things that you can do with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and that's what I've heard. I looked at that, and they were talking about all the capability that Darkroom had when I saw them a couple of years ago at the Photo Booth Expo. Incredible stuff, and they could do incredible things, but oh my goodness gracious, there's a learning curve, and I guess with anything there's a learning curve, but it was pretty intense for sure. Sean, you made it. I'm gonna unmute you here. There we are. We have audio. Good to see you, my friend. We're just going around, Sean, and kind of talking a little bit about where we are with photo booth experience. So kind of bring us up to speed. Where are you at?
As far as photo booth,
Yep.
I am. I kind of put together my own with a nice monitor, camera, computer.
Your mic is super quiet. Is it covered?
Oh, let me see if I can turn it down. John, Mike, can you hear me at all?
I can hear you at all. It sounds like the microphone's like pointed the other direction, kind of a thing.
I don't have an external mic. I'm just using the computer microphone.
Wonder if it's
Can you see if I can get something else?
Yeah, why don't you try that? Because I barely hear you here, Sean.
Okay. Give me a minute.
Yep. No problem. See what you can do with that, and we can bounce back to you there. So, Mitch, you've been doing the photo booth for a number of years and such. So I want to kind of talk about how we're selling the photo booth to brides a little bit, because that's something. We make the investment. We're going to go to Photo Booth Expo, and they're ranging in price from this to this. But if we at the end of the day, if we cannot turn that into a sale, time and time again, it doesn't matter how much it is, we're not going to make money with it. Mitch, I'll start with you a little bit. Kind of tell us how you have. You've incorporated that, and how you sell your photo booth to your clients.
Well, so far for us, our clients have been a lot of corporations and not what I would consider a corporate activation, but just a lot of larger organizations here, a lot of businesses, and we've got kids that are in that 20 to 24-year-old range. And so we just went through the high school thing, and we've got a lot of kids we know a lot of kids that are college age and some of them that are starting to get married and things like that. And so that's been a lot of where we've actually sourced a lot of our contacts from. But we've done a few bridal shows, have not had a lot of luck with them so far.
Sure.
The one that we've been going to is one of the lower priced ones here in town. I think there's 3 different ones. And by the way, we're in eastern Nebraska, Omaha. And I think there's three of them here in town that regularly that have shows multiple times a year. And the one we've been going to has been a little bit lower priced one. It feels like the target budget is quite a bit lower than where we're actually sitting. And so I think that's been part of we just haven't done a lot of weddings and haven't had a lot of success with bridal shows. But, the other thing is for us, it's a second job. And so, we don't necessarily care if we have it every weekend. It provides it's a good pace for us. We still have a weekend or two off a month, and have 2 or 3 bookings a month. That works pretty good for us. So.
Mitch, just to give an idea, what kind of a price range are photo booth are brides expecting a photo booth to be in your market or in your area?
Well, at the events that we've been to, I think that a lot of them are looking for stuff in that even as low as $300, which there's not a lot of folks that are doing stuff for $300. Not at least not what I would consider to be business, like professional business.
Yeah.
There's some individuals or some there's college kids even that will set stuff up, and they come take pictures, but they don't have prints on site. They don't have sharing stations. They don't have that kind of stuff. I think this particular event, we've been doing stuff like $5.95 and $6.95, and brides are balking at those prices.
Yeah.
So that's been a bit of a tough sell, even at that one. So it might be that if we've considered moving into some of the other bridal shows, but right now where we're at, we're still kind of trying to scale up just a little bit. With the new booth, I'm hoping to be able to get somebody trained to be able to operate it, so I can actually farm that out, and not have to be, the only person that can actually go out and do an event kind of thing. So we're still kind of in that process. Once we get there, we might try and push a little harder on the weddings to where I can send somebody out with a booth and be confident knowing that it's going to run well and be a good experience for the customer.
Sure. Brandon, let's kind of, in your area, when you've done your research and such with putting your photo booth out there and such, what kind of a price range are you running into, or have you run into a point where you're having people balk at when you present that price to them?
Not exactly. I mean, my booth with the iPad, without prints runs about 400 in my area. With prints, it's up to like 550, 600. And I've seen them up to about 1,000, just over 1,000 for green screen booths, from other companies and stuff like that. But the going price, I know if I were to sub it out to another company, it would be around 550, 600.
Very nice. Yeah, and that. I think my area, Mitch, kind of fits your area more than Brandon's area, because in our vicinity, there's a couple of people who are using a webcam laptop, a not dot matrix, an inkjet printer, and their 250 is what they're gonna go out for the night. And then we have some people that have a very nice, big, elaborate arcade style, as you were referring to, and they are getting $1,200 to $1,500 a night because they're selling that experience more than they're selling the product and such, which is kind of a cool thing. Brandon, have you when you're talking with people and your age, the younger people and such, Eric mentioned the photo or the video, using the video to that people want to do a short video. Is that something that you have looked at for your eventual full booth that you buy?
I have looked at that. I honestly, when I get to the point where I get a full booth, I want to, invest a lot and get something that can handle green screen, something that can handle short videos, something that can handle that kind of like karaoke type booth thing. A lot of, all those features, and something that is easily portable too. But in our area, I think the big thing right now is green screen. I haven't seen a lot of video photo booths at other events I go to. It's mostly green screen photo booths and then just regular photo booths. Occasionally you'll get an option to do videos and GIFs and stuff like that, but I don't see it being used as much as just normal photo strips.
I think Chris had to bounce out. We'll have to, the question you guys had for Chris, I'm not sure if that, the mirror booth, Rob, are you still with me? Because I know at the Photo Booth Expo, there's a couple of guys who have the mirror me, and I'm drawing a blank on their names. Who had them?
Photomaster.
There we go, Photomaster. They're the ones. Yep. So we did a video with them, and I think that's the mirror that Chris has. It looks identical to what Photomaster had, and I think they had the proprietary software with theirs also. But for those
Yeah,
of you, go ahead.
that was one of the highlights, I think, of the first year. That they first year. I'm not sure if there are other mirror booths or whatever, but like when people were looking, that seemed to be like one of the new exciting products that were introduced there.
Oh yeah, I thought that was an incredible. My saw that. My thought with that was to have two of those, one on either side of your DJ booth, and so people can literally come up during the dance, and they'd see themselves in the mirror and it'd be like, hey, let's go take a picture. They walk up, take the picture, and then they go right back to the dance, and you could have it right there, catching the fun of the dance floor. I think it'd be a fabulous. But as Chris said, they're an investment. I mean, it's not an inexpensive system, but it's an experience. It's a wow factor that you don't get with some of the other options. Okay. Sean, are you with us now? Do we have Mike?
Oh, his mic is muted. I see up on the screen.
Let me see if I can. There we go. Sean?
How about that? Can you hear me?
Hey, there you are, man. Woo-hoo!
I'm excited. This is great.
Awesome. You are back with us. So, Sean, tell us a little bit about we've had conversations about photo booth stuff in the past, and tell us where you are with that project.
Well, last year I started doing it in probably December, not this past December, but the December before. I went online, researched, came up with a darkroom booth. I went to the expo in March of last year, and it just blew me away because I was so new, and the room was just so full of different. I didn't know what backdrops to get or anything. So I've been continually researching. I've kind of got a little makeshift, I guess you could say, booth where I like it and it's compact, but I think I want to move up either to, like Brandon was saying, a iPad booth or a smaller booth. Smaller to me is better because of the carry. And that mirror booth, that idea you had, John, sounds great, but just the carry of two mirror booths,
Yeah,
that scares me. But I think that's the way I use my booth on the dance floor. I have another one that's over away, but I like to use it on the dance floor where people are partying, and with the video, with the DJ, the pictures go right to the screen, with Dropbox or a wire, and people just eat it. The school dances, the kids eat it up. They love to take the picture, the moving jig, 3 pictures, where you take 3, 1, 2, 3, and they can text them to themselves. And the investment from my part is so minimal. I kind of like to keep this a secret because it's just a natural thing, and the technology just keeps growing and growing and growing. The iPad booth, there's people coming out with apps for the iPad right now that are in development, and they promise to blow everything out of the water with these things with an iPad on a stand with a light around it. And it can do so much video, slow motion video, all the social medias, and just that one small thing. So I'm interested to see which way are we going to go? Are we going to go with the mirror booths, the bigger stuff, or the bigger eye-catching stuff, or the smaller hand-carried compact stuff? I don't know, John, but
yeah.
It's
an interesting to see which direction it will go. I mean, if it's going to follow the gear that we're using within the DJ realm, we're going to be looking smaller. But are we sacrificing experience? And that's Mitch, you had mentioned, of course, the idea that of some smaller things also. Are you finding? First off, I was going to ask about props. Are you guys using props with your photo booth?
Yeah, we've got a lot of props. We've got enough props that we can probably run 10 booths concurrently if we needed to. I mean, we come out. I mean, and we regularly get comments about how, oh wow, you guys have so much stuff, but at the same time, it's it's a little bit the what's the common phrase about not being able to make a decision because of too much choice kind of thing,
Yeah.
So, but we do, we've always done from the very get-go unlimited sessions and unlimited. We do a print for every person, as opposed to like a certain number of prints, like a single pair or one print or that kind of thing. We've always priced it so that everybody in the picture gets a print. We've always done unlimited photography, unlimited sessions kind of thing. And it's practically unlimited props. So, people like to come through, especially the high school kids. They love to come through multiple times. And we go to these proms that have 800 kids. We'll have a lineup for 4 hours.
Oh.
But like we run it smooth enough. We try to set it up so that there's one side in, one way out. And, the traffic's not really crossing over each other. They're not bumping into each other. And it allows us to manage the props real well. It allows us them to get their prints. They're out of the way when they're getting their prints. And so the large groups like that have worked really well for us. And having that many props allows them to come through multiple times. It allows us to have 3 or 4 groups of kids already thinking ahead, planning out what they're getting. They're going through props. By the time they get up to me to take their picture, they've got all their props. They're ready to have their picture taken. And we do 2 or 3 pictures of them. They're out the other side, and the next group's coming in, and they're getting their prints about the time they put their props back. So it works real smooth, and I feel like we've got a pretty good system put together to deal with that. And having a lot of props is part of that, even though it's a lot of props.
It is, and that's one of the things. Is that the experience where people are having fun with the props, and is that the excitement that's going to keep the photo booth thing in front of people and popular, or is it just the experience of getting with my buddies and taking that hands-free selfie, we'll call it?
Yeah. So, and I think there's some of that. I think there's something to be said for that as well. Right now, I feel like folks are still, at least here in the Midwest, I feel like they're still kind of like the prop is a pretty popular thing. But I think we're starting to see some folks go towards like the PVC props and smaller setups as well. So, and that's actually what we're trying to do with our new, the booth that I built, the smaller one. That's kind of what we're trying to do as well. It's a little bit smaller setup, a little bit fewer props, quicker to set up, quicker to tear down, a little easier to manage as with a single person. Right now, the way my wife and I work together. So she works as, I'm usually the photographer. She works as kind of the attender or she's hustling props and, moving people in and out and helping them find stuff, getting their prints to them, stuff like that. And, as we move forward, we're looking for something that can be run by a single person. And so the automated booth gives us that flexibility so that they can stay on top of the props. You can't do that with 2 8-foot tables for the props, Stuff just walks off. And,
very quickly.
So, yeah. So so we have different services depending on what they want, kind of thing.
Have you guys talked about the sharing stations aspect of Photo Booth?
It's been mentioned on a couple of occasions. We haven't really dug into that, and I want to hit that just before we wrap up. But before we get the sharing station, because I want to hit that, Sean, props in your market. What's some of the hot stuff that people are consistently, that's the hot props within your kit?
For me, and that's why I said the sharing station, because we use a separate computer and we use the digital prop, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, where we might have no props on the table. I have props, but we might have no props. And once the picture's taken, they go over to the station and they can add a mustache, they can add a wig.
Decorate it up.
Just by touching it, they can add typing, they can add letters. Just by touch and slide and dragging it onto their face. Like a Snapchat kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And I see that's the way to go. What Mitch is doing is great because he's, like you said, he's got a line around the corner. So I love what he's doing, but I'm just looking at another way to possibly do it with having to bring all the props, to bring stuff. I like both ways, but I just wanted you guys to maybe hear that there is another way to do props. And that's in the software. That's in all the software.
And that's a popular thing, I think, nowadays, too, because, Snapchat and those all have that built in.
Right. And the photo booth, even the iPad software, you can add names, a hat, glasses, anything you want to. Just from an iPad, John. Just from an iPad.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you think about it. If we don't have that capability to do that, our media booth or photo booth, we're going to be way behind, because even Facebook now has the ability to put a mask on me and the thing follows incredibly well as I'm moving around. So we're going to have to get to that point where some people can go in there and select, okay, I want this mask on this face,
Right.
and go from there.
I can't think of the name of the iPad app, but he was demonstrating it on Facebook. And I suggest anybody who's in the photo booth join the photo booth network. There's over 7,000 people there. They know everything about photo booth. But this guy's demonstrating an iPad, and the iPad, he can put the face on there, and he moves around a video, and the glasses move with him. And I don't know how he does it, but we're just going straight up with
It's crazy technology. And here, Brandon, when we first started, he was talking. He's using an iPad for his things as he's getting started. And heck, Brandon, you might be on the cutting edge and ahead of all of us with your iPad.
Brandon's going to be up here very shortly.
Yeah, you'll be getting things going.
Yeah, and I think being mostly, a DJ, I want something that I can set up and almost leave without an attendant in most cases too. And so something with the digital props, which I think is getting big in our market here too in New York, is with the digital props, people, you don't have to put props out. So without running an attendant, it would be a lot easier to,
for sure,
to go with a DJ. But at the same time, I do see mostly in our area, I see, a 6-foot table just filled with PVC props, and the signs more than props are getting really big, like the hashtag signs and stuff like that, more so than the mustaches and sunglasses and stuff like that. And the other prop I've seen that's making it big that I want to get is the 3D printed mustaches. I think those are a big hit too, and the 3D printed sunglasses and stuff like that.
Oh, sure. Goodness, I better not tell my boys they have 3D printers and they print off different devices for their Nerf guns and sell them on eBay. Yeah, crazy. What they can do with those printers. Just checking the chat room here if there's anything. They're talking about the selfie stick. But getting back to the attendant, as Brandon was saying, having something that doesn't need an attendant, that's the route I would prefer to go myself. But after talking with Eric earlier, and when he's talking that the attendant in many cases becomes like a pseudo salesperson for the process, and I could definitely see it. Like when Mitch has his wife running the photo booth, she's there to answer questions and maybe not having to do much technically advanced stuff with it, but she's there to smile and be that happy face that people are like, I like her. Let's call them.
Yep.
And sometimes that's what all it takes is that phone call, because once they make the decision to call, the booking can come much easier.
And along with the having an attendant and not having an attendant and the iPad booths and making this whole thing simpler, I think at the same time we're almost hurting ourselves in a way, whereas if these iPad booths become this really easy, super friendly, cheap thing, people are just going to buy an iPad for their wedding and set it up and let it run. They're not going to need to hire anybody for it.
And that was what Gerald and a few others in the chat room were mentioning, that if it gets to that point, the only question becomes go ahead.
I think part of that becomes selling the experience at that point.
Yeah.
Because, handing them the prints and guiding them through or helping them find a prop if there are props or,
Right.
that kind of thing. I think that's where that's going to ultimately lead to, is the actual booth itself is going to become a commodity, and it's the experience that you're going to have to try and sell.
Yeah, definitely. And that could encompass hooking it into, as Sean was saying, he's got it next to the dance floor and he can put it up on a screen. And it might be experience that becomes the real upsell to it, is that, we've got, 2 iPad booths, but you go over there, you get your picture taken, and all of a sudden it's going to show up on a 10-foot screen right in the middle of the room, and you can decorate it and then send it up to the picture. I mean, that's something he can sell. Otherwise, if I just have a computer over here, the very first, when we had our photo booth here, the big one, the first guy who was competing against us was taking a webcam from school, taking a printer from his school, and he took his laptop from his teacher's laptop from the school. And that's what his photo booth experience or system was. And it was, basically the laptop sat on a folding chair. The webcam was clipped to the back of the folding chair, and that was his, and that's what it was at that time. And it's changed since then, thankfully, but yeah.
And John, they have also some of the softwares that built in where people can text or hashtag a picture to you, and it'll go up on the screen, and it'll have the markings on it, birthday party or wedding day. So that's also built into the software, where not only you take the picture at the booth, but you can text a picture at the wherever you are, and it'll still come to the software.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the capability has come so far so fast, but just from our conversation and the advent of some Snapchat things coming to Facebook and all these different aspects of it, I'm excited to come at the Photo Booth Expo in a couple of weeks or a few weeks, about a month away, to see how some of these software companies are implementing that, because they're looking at that and they're saying we got to add those features, because if they don't.
And they are fighting all the time. Darkroom is coming out with a new updated version next month. And I think it's going to be before the expo. But they are going head to head with each other, and they're trying to outdo each other. And it's only good for the customer. For us, it's just good for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Stay tuned. We're going to have this come out and this. And they're just going higher and higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, talking about homemade photo booths that look really, really crappy, and that's, as Mitch is mentioning, the experience, and that's what we're going to have to be selling, is that experience in whatever way, shape. It might be with like Jimmy says, talks about his red carpet, his Hollywood red carpet type theme, where they come in and they've got that. Could be that step and repeat background, what have you. But I think it's like the DJ world. We have to sell an experience. If we're not selling experience, if we're selling gear, we're never going to be able to get the value for what we do.
And that's a large part of what the whole expo is about as well, because there are people that go out, as you heard, for $200, and there's people that go out for $2,000, and nobody wants to go out for $200. They would all like to be in that $2,000 range, but what do you need to do to get there? And there's just so many, the experience, the quality of your photos, the way your booth looks. There's just so many business things that basically, provide a 90% difference in what income you can get. Yeah. And I think everybody wants to be at that $2,000 point, but some people aren't. Some people are, and unfortunately, there are some people at the $200 range that that are struggling out there. So,
for those of you, that's Rob Savickas. He's from Photo Booth Expo. He is the one speaking right now. He does not have a webcam on. We apologize for that, but yeah, your name doesn't pop up so they can see you. When the rest of us talk, our names pop up, but Rob's the.
I apologize. I didn't have the. I didn't know exactly what the format of this was going to be, and I do have laptops where I could have the video portion on there. But
this is good.
I preferred to work in my desktop today, and it's a nice desktop, just does not have a webcam. So.
Yeah, not a problem. Good stuff. Gentlemen, we need to wrap things up. Mitch, Brandon, Sean, Rob, thank you guys for being with me tonight. Looking forward to seeing some of you out at Photo Booth Expo here in about, once again, what were the dates on that, Rob?
March the 20th to the 22nd. If you're just going for the exhibits, don't show up on the 20th. I had one or two people each year that basically didn't read the tickets and all of that. The exhibits are open on the 21st and the 22nd, basically from 12 to 7 p.m. on the 21st, 12 to 4 p.m. on the 22nd. There is a full day, 12 to 6 of seminars. So for people that have the full key pass, make sure you show up on Sunday night, Monday morning, and you'll have education on day 1. There's also education to start the day on days 2 and 3. And PBA University will be running some additional seminars. These are separate from the show as well, and some of those are during the show hours. But other than that, for the seminars are included with the key pass. We decided not to have any during the show hours because I found once the show floor opens, that's where everybody heads to. So.
That's right. Good stuff. All right, we're going to wrap things up. We'll be back in about 15 minutes tonight with our final show, where we're going to be talking about the difference between controller DJs and the turntable list. We've got the full thing, so we'll see you guys in about 15. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for hosting this.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Josh.
you.
Are you gonna do this
Thank you.
again, Josh?
Yeah, we're gonna be doing one of the Monday shows is going to be a photo booth. Each week we'll be doing a photo booth chat, and then there's going to be one that's more wedding DJ related. So we're going to be getting really topical with what we're going to be doing with our shows, and such. So yeah, I've got the next few weeks. I've got